So the United States really only enters the war in its final year. Most of the war is fought before we enter, but U.S. American participation is decisive in leading to, or is a decisive contributing factor leading to ultimate Allied victory. You can read about the details of our combat in World War I in section 23.4 of the OpenStax textbook. Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany abdicated the throne on November 9th, 1918. He ran away to the Netherlands to hide. 2 days later, Germany and the Allies declared an immediate armistice. An armistice, and we say, okay, no more killing. No more killing. The details are to be worked out in the future, but the Armistice Day, November 11th, 1918, that's now what we celebrate as Veterans Day, by the way. When the armistice was declared, a total of 117,000 American soldiers had been killed and 206,000 wounded. The Allies as a whole suffered over 4.7 military deaths, mostly Russian, British, and French. The Central Powers, the defeated powers, suffered 4 million military deaths, half of which were German. So notice that the side which won the war lost the most people. This isn't what Wilson meant by it, but the words peace without victory have sort of a haunting resonance here. Once the fighting ends, it becomes time for it's time to figure out how to shape a lasting peace. Let's make this the war that will end all wars. And Woodrow Wilson sees an opportunity. Wilson has a particular vision for a new order of the world, a new world order that will ensure peace, fair relations, moral treatment of peoples from one country to the next. So because we've stepped out of this war as an even greater world power, he sees this as a real opportunity to impose his moral-driven instead of self-interest-driven foreign policy on the whole world. And he has a plan. It's like he had it in his pocket, ready to go. The 14-point plan for a just peace and for shaping what he considers to be a just society. And he brings these 14 points to the Paris Peace Conference, where the leaders of the world, world leaders from both sides, are negotiating what is the world going to look like on the other side of this horror, and how do we build a world where this doesn't happen again. What you'll see when you watch the video on the Paris Peace Conference is that most people aren't interested in Wilson's vision for a just peace. The Allies want revenge on Germany. They want to squeeze the Central Powers for everything they can get. And one by one, 13 of Wilson's 14 points are flushed down the toilet, and to his great frustration. You can read about this too in section 23.4 of the OpenStax textbooks. Only point 14 survives, because as bloodthirsty for revenge as the Allies are, they do recognize that this can't happen again. World War I needs to be, of course it's not called World War I at the time, by the way, but the World War needs to be the only one. There can't be a World War II. This can't be allowed to happen again. Well, Wilson has proposed the founding of an international organization known as the League of Nations, where nations will cooperate together to frame an international law and international structures which will defend the rights of everyone, especially weaker nations, and and prevent these terrible acts of aggression from ever happening again. And the League of Nations is founded. And guess who doesn't join? The United States of America. Wilson can't push through League of Nations membership in his own country, where his opponents fear that we'd be handing over some of our sovereignty. This devastates him. And then it doesn't help that he suffers a debilitating stroke in the last months of his presidency and is unable to fight for the formation of the League of Nations the way he otherwise would have. So read all about that in section 23.4 and watch the 3 videos that follow in the playlist. Woodrow Wilson's 14 Points, Paris Peace Conference, and the Treaty of Versailles. The war to end all war. The Treaty of Versailles will fix everything, and never again will there be... Wait, what? Oh. And the League of Nations.